back, everyone, to another episode of the Sad Dad Games podcast. Today, you are listening to an episode of Eric's Indie Corner. Every week, I pick an indie game that I love and want to recommend to all of you. Today, we're going to be talking about Hollow Knight. We're going to have an in-depth discussion about gameplay, lore, and what makes this game special. We are your hosts, Eric.
I'm Shan.
And I'm Emerlie.
All right. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. You can find us here on YouTube and wherever else you find podcasts. And let's get into it. So, Hollow Knight. This is an exciting one. This is a video that I've been sitting on for a while. The three of us here are all big Hollow Knight fans. And for the last, 300 or 400 years, the release of Silksong has been imminent. And so I've been sitting on this video and I was like, I'm going to get ready as soon as they announce a release date for Silksong. Then I'll be able to have a few months. I'll take my time. We can put a really cool video together. We'll do something really special. And then out of nowhere, Team Terry goes, all right, Silksong's coming in 2 weeks. Get ready.
Oh shit, right? Like,
it's time.
Oh shit. Yeah, we thought this is going to be the longest Indie Corner episode that we'll ever have. It's going to be at least an hour, probably. We're comfortable with however long it wants to go. But then it was like, but we got to plan. A lot of people want to be in on this episode. And then it was so last minute. It's just the three of us, but we're still very excited. But it was an, oh shit, let's hit record.
Well,
if you guys noticed, Tucker is not here today because
Tucker's a weenie.
hates this game and he won't give it a real chance. And so, yeah, he's out. It's just us. And he was going to bring us down.
Yeah, we don't invite wet blankets to the really cool indie episodes, so Tucker's not invited today.
We should convince him to peer pressure him into getting an X account so that people can slip into his DMs and start shit posting him and just sending him hate DMs or whatever you want to call them, just because this is it's an opinion, but it's a bad opinion, right? Like objectively a bad opinion.
It's the wrong one.
So people are going to go in and post on Tucker's account. People meaning Shan on 30 different accounts.
I'm going to troll his account. This actually speaks to something interesting. I always thought, those trolls on the internet, these people that lurk in the dark, and you kind of start to think of them like maybe they're bots that are just inflaming accounts. Like, I've never met somebody who goes around and trolls people on the internet. Then I had a discussion this last week with one of my sisters and my brother, and it turns out they're both trolls on the internet, and they just never talk about it. They're awful people that go around like, I hated this one thing, so I need the whole world to rally around me, and I'm going to go attack everybody. Turns out they're the shit posters, and it's so infuriating to know that it comes from within the house, In
your own home, your own family. The ultimate form of betrayal.
Our sister was so enraged by the finale of Lucifer that she went online, just dumped this big, huge essay about how much she hated the ending. And she didn't. I was like, well, did you use AI to type this out? It's so long. She's like, no, I hand typed all of this. I'm like, well,
felt
that's
all of
aggressive.
These feelings.
And then she actually had the audacity to say, well, yeah, maybe I'll convince them to refilm the ending and change the ending, and we're like,
which has never happened except for How I Met Your Mother, and even then it was lazy at best, right?
Yeah, no.
They used the footage they already had.
Yeah, and then my brother, his whole thing was he goes around complaining about there being too many parking lots in his city and trying to rally people.
Who has ever complained about too many parking lots? I have literally never heard anyone complain about that.
He's been talking about it for 5 years.
Parking lots is a huge trigger for him. He'll just get so aggressive about it, yeah.
I have often complained about not enough parking lots, but yeah.
Well, I actually am online a lot, and I have a decent platform, and then it's I refuse to even interact with a lot of posts. I rarely like things, leave comments. I'm very careful about that because I'm I don't want a digital footprint at all.
I don't want people to track me. I don't want to be swatted. I don't want to be doxxed.
But not you guys. You guys should leave comments.
You guys are the loveliest fans, right?
Yeah, the loveliest fans ever.
We're assuming
we need to come up with a fun name for all of our fans, all 5 or 6 of you out there. So if you want to comment, that's not true. We've got more now. We've got lots of followers now. So, not lots, but more than we did. But if you want to be called a cool name, get in the comments and be like, hey, you should call us The sugar babies.
I call my audience sugar babies, and if we're the sad dad games, we're the daddies, right?
Daddies? We can call y'all daddies. That's fine.
No, we're the daddies.
Oh,
They're
we're the
babies.
daddies. And the
Yeah.
babies.
There you
We
go.
can call you our babies. And I'm here to
So
kiss the boo-boo.
Don't refer to yourself as our daddy. We need to talk about Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight. Yeah, so this is one we're super excited about. So normally what I do on Eric's Indie Corner episodes is I keep them spoiler free. I do a quick, we talk a little bit about the story, about the gameplay, and about the sound and visual design of the game. So I'm going to do a little bit of that today, but since we all love this game so much and we have so much that we want to say, there will be a break point in the episode where I will warn everybody and say everything from here on out, heavy spoilers. So if you haven't played the game before, I'll give you a warning of when to hop off and and go play the
Destroy
game
our
because you should play the game. Yeah, and destroy our algorithm, because that's how strongly I feel about spoilers. I'd rather have you guys hop off the video and go play the game than boost our views. But also you should watch the
And
video anyways.
If you decide not to go play the game, then you can go to hell, right?
Yeah.
Like-
and you should
like
listen to the
Tucker.
rest of the
Tucker.
episode. Yeah.
Well, it's not even that Tucker was indifferent. He's like, I hated it. It's awful.
He just
He
wants
played
to-
like an hour.
Yeah,
That's
he
not
doesn't get
enough.
it.
Not enough. It's not enough.
It's not enough. All right,
That's
so
Winston. By the way, that's New Girl Winston when he's like, what is he trying to do? And he's like, that's not enough. I don't remember.
This sounds familiar.
Shan, we already reached the banter part. You said it yourself that we bantered too much, and you're not letting me
Step
jump
up.
into
Oh,
it.
he's cutting up snowflakes.
Oh, because he's trying
He's
to
like-
not take his exam.
He's
yeah.
procrastinating. It's not enough. All right.
All right, so we're going to jump right into it. So Hollow Knight is a 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania game developed by Team Cherry, which is primarily comprised of Ari Gibson and William Pellin. It's a big, massive game that is made mostly by just two people, with some light support from other people here and there, but like 90% of the game, just these two people, which is super cool, really impressive. It originally released in February 27th of 2017, and then about a year later for consoles. And a cool thing about this game is it had an interesting development cycle. It started off like a lot of indie games do, as in a game jam, where Team Cherry had made a game called Hungry Knight, where you played as a character that looks much like the Knight from Hollow Knight, but you're going around fighting enemies and collecting cherries to stave off your hunger. And so this, is where they got their name for their studio, Team Cherry, and then this idea in conjunction with another game jam about where the prompt was deep underground. They kind of took those two ideas, and that's what ultimately became Hollow Knight, which is a game where you're exploring a deep underground full of bugs in a lost, broken world of insects, which is very cool.
You know what? That makes sense. There's archival footage of this game jam game, and it's a little cheesy, wonky. Not wonky. That's not the right word, but it's silly. And
It's like a top-down game.
I'm curious if they didn't even know that Hollow Knight, the protagonist, was going to be a bug at first, and then when they got to deep underground, they're like, okay, well, let's make a bug game, and he was reverse engineered to be a bug, and I wonder if that created the aesthetic of what bugs looked like in this game, because it's a very unique take on what bugs should look like. Very stylistic.
Yeah, it's Ari Gibson is kind of the primary leader of the art direction in this game and for Team Cherry, and he's got a really unique and interesting animation style. He's got a strong background in animation. If you want to watch some cool videos, go check out some of his earlier work. Just go onto YouTube and type in Ari Gibson animation. He does lots of cool stuff. So, so the story for this game is, like I said, I'm just going to give the quick kind of a short version of what I would normally do for an indie episode. So we'll go over story first. It's excellent, haunting, cute, and deep and interesting, but not overt and in your face. A lot of the lore and secrets have to be discovered by paying attention and uncovering things on your own, which I think is a really rewarding way to experience a story. The gameplay is 2D combat focused, so it's a side-scrolling game. You fight lots of really tough bosses with your nail like a sword. It's really great fluid animation, really responsive controls. The difficulty feels tight but manageable. So every time you make a mistake, it feels like it's on you and not like a flaw of the design. So it gives you that kind of itch of like, okay, one more try, because you know exactly where you went wrong. You dodged at the wrong time, or you didn't, hit it. You didn't wait for the right opening. And so it has that addictive quality of like, oh, I died again, but I know it was my fault and I want to try again. So really satisfying.
Or I want to try a different loadout on your charms, and it's this is going to be the one. Now I know what they're doing and what I need to compensate for it. And then you lose anyway. Yeah. I got to tell you, I got to Hornet the second time and I died. Like, I thought, okay, I'm just 1 or 2 attempts away from finishing. I stayed up till 2:30 last night. And I was just failing, always getting within like the last act of the boss fight. And then I changed my loadout and I won on my first try. And that was infuriating to me that I didn't think about that loadout before.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to swap around your charms and figure it out. So there's lots of versatility that way too, which is really, really cool and rewarding. But yeah, I think that the combat is pretty much pitch perfect. There's 1 or 2 little boss fights here and there that it like, I have difficulty with. I don't know if they're actually like, they could be designed better, but I have a hard time with them. So I might just be bad.
I really love the jumping on this, because depending on how much you button smash the jumping button, it will determine like how far you actually jump. And so it takes a while to get used to it, but then it's really intuitive of, okay, well, I just need to jump this far. So you just barely tap the button. And I love that, because you don't see that with a lot of games.
Yeah, that was actually established originally with like classic Mario, was, this contextual jump that jumps as long as you press, so you can go short or high. The problem with Mario, until you develop a muscle memory for it, is that he also has built-in like physics to his running, so it takes a second to, like, you have to hit backwards to stop, instead of, whereas this game threw out the physics of like the actual physics of momentum, and it just says, well, if you let go of the joystick, you halt right there. So you always feel like you have 100% control over this character, which is just such a satisfying primary gameplay loop.
It's super important for the difficult boss battles in particular to have pinpoint precision with your character. There's no acceleration, there's no deceleration. When you stop with the joystick, the knight stops in his place. When you stop holding down the jump button, he stops ascending and starts falling down. If you're in the air and you're moving one way and you tilt the joystick the other way, you immediately turn and start going the other way. It just causes this like pinpoint precision where you have complete control over the character at all times. So really satisfying, character control.
Right, and there are very few like this is not something you could typically accomplish in a 3D game, so they avoid that kind of stuff. They were able to do it. You can have pinpoint turning that breaks physics in Mario Wonder, and I think that's why that game was so satisfying to play.
Yeah. That's another really, really tightly controlled platformer.
Yeah, but if you have 3D animation, it's like, well, there's going to be, tweening and fluidity between motion such that it's hard to just like decimate the animation and turn on the dime. And so this gameplay feel, it works perfectly in 2D animation.
Yeah. Yes. So gameplay, pretty much exact. Like I have no complaints. Really solid stuff. And then as far as visuals and sound, also really, really nice. The art direction in this game is spectacular. All of the areas and biomes are visually distinct and different and have different, geography and architecture and things that make them stand out, and different enemies. The enemy variety in this game is absolutely bonkers. There's something like 150 different types of enemies or something. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's the right number, but the answer is a lot.
I'm looking at you, Ukulele. with what, 2 enemies, and it's just been like reskinned 100 times. It's not literal, but it's so few, and they just put like 3. New enemy models on the same AI over and over again. The AI was already so bad. And so Yuka Replay, I'm very excited to see how they...
it just got a release date.
Today, October 4th or something. But like now they're going to put content in between the spaces, because it's a big sprawling world with nothing in it. So more enemies, more in between challenges for platforming that kind of directs your movement, gives you little challenges that keeps you excited in the exploration phase of the game. Like, they understood exactly what made it fail, and I'm hoping that this causes them, like, obviously they went to 2.5D for Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Layer, and I'm hoping they're like, well, I think there was still something there to classic Banjo-Kazooie Spiritual Revival. We still want to do that, but we have to prove that we can do it by doing Yooka-Laylee. I'm hoping.
Yeah, fingers crossed. So Hollow Knight definitely doesn't do that. Lots of enemy variety, but art direction is fantastic. The music is another one. This is one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard in a video game, composed by Chris Larkin. Phenomenal. We'll have more, to talk about with that a little bit later, but the music is great. The art direction is great. Spot on, spectacular.
So I did check. There's 164
Ooh, I was close.
enemies. Yes. Because you have the book that you can fill out, the Hunter's Journal, and I think I've actually completed it, or I need like 1 or 2 more. But yeah, I checked. There's 164. That is a lot.
Well, I think something like 40 of them are bosses. Maybe not 40, but there's quite a few bosses too. It's like 30.
Well,
but there's a lot. So I don't know if the number is included in that. But either way, huge enemy variety, a lot of bosses. Very cool.
Well, and there's obviously going to be like a whole roster of them that are like, there's the alpha, then the beta, then they have different forms to them, like the infected form and stuff like that. But still, that counts as a new enemy.
Yeah, but even then, a lot of them are pretty visually distinct, and gameplay are like that was one thing that I thought was cool, is they have all of these enemies and they found a way for them to all behave at least slightly differently. So very, really impressive to them. But yeah, so to wrap up this little portion, as a super cool bonus on top is about a year and a half after the game released, is they released 4 DLC expansions, adding new bosses, fast travel, and other optimizations, with 3 of the expansions being large enough to be named. The Grim Troop, Lifeblood, and Godmaster expansions, which are all top notch, I'm really bad at Godmaster. Godmaster is basically a boss rush mode, and it's so hard. I've tried it time and time again, and I want to dive into that extra content, and I'm just not good enough. I can't meet Team Cherry where they want me to. I don't have the teeth for it. But very cool anyways.
Yeah. One criticism I have of this game, it's a game that so few games I desperately want to 100% them. This one I desperately want to 100%, and it won't let me. So I had to decide what was my...
Good, Shan.
Get
good, right? I had to decide, where was my bailout moment, where it's like, you know what, I'm probably missing 1/3 of the content, and that's high enough that I'm okay with it. If I was within 5%, I'd probably lose my mind.
So I actually am trying to, I think there's 100%, but I think it's actually 112%,
yeah,
which
with the
must
DLC,
be from the DLCs.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to 112%. I actually
Good
haven't
luck with
beat
Godmaster.
the game yet. Yeah, I'm stuck on the Coliseum of Fools, but yeah, I'm trying to do the full 112, and so I actually haven't beat the game yet. But I have, I think, 4 games simultaneously going between my brother's Switch and my own Switch, and I haven't transferred the data over to my Switch too, so it's just I've got too many games going, and they're all at different stages of the game. But I need to actually finish. But I know the endings already.
Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about the endings in the spoiler alert lore section. So yeah, it's a great game. It's pretty meaty. It on your first playthrough will get you between 25 to 60 hours, depending on how good you are and how much of the content you engage with, because you could spend a couple hours banging your head against a boss that you're just really struggling with. So good, really solid gameplay, length. Really happy with that. It's available for Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac. And it's a meager $14.99, which is an absolute steal. You should buy it right now. Go buy while you're listening to this. Go buy it. Hollow Knight sold something like 15 million copies, so you probably have already bought it. But if you haven't, buy it, and if you have, buy it again. All right, so this is where normal...
Can I say, there's you probably saw today that there was a leaked rumor from GameStop that they had a listing prepared for Silksong, and they're they had preloaded this listing for $20, and it was the first time the internet had decided this is too little to pay for a game. Please charge more. That will never happen again.
Can I pay extra? Yeah.
Right. I am
Talking about
skeptical.
Silksong, the sequel, right? Yeah.
Right. I am currently skeptical it'll be 20. I think that they would sell tens of millions of copies at $20. It's just such a bargain in, when all the games out there cost as much as they do. But they also took 7 years to build it. I know that they had money on hand because the first one was so successful. But, like, you would probably sell an equal amount of games if you made it $30 or $40. Also, I have to admit, they're going to release it on digital, and I hate digital, so I'll buy it day one, and then I'm going to turn around and buy it again on physical. And they know
I'm going to
people
do the
are
same
gonna do
thing.
it.
I've
I'm
already
going to buy it
decided that
digitally
too.
because I want to play it as soon as it comes out, but I also want to own a physical copy of it. So I'm going to buy both. Team Cherry gets my money. These guys just get my money. Take it right out of my wallet. It's yours forever.
Even
So,
if it's like $20, you pay that twice. 40 is worth it.
no
guarantee
problem
it.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the episode where Eric's Indie Corner would normally end. But because we love this game so much and we have lots of stuff to talk out, this is your spoiler warning. Wii U, Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. Everything after this is going to have the potential to spoil every single part of the Hollow Knight story, lore, characters, gameplay things. We're just going to have a complete open discussion about every part of the whole game from here on out. So that was your warning.
We're going to
All
get
right.
real weird with
We're going to get
this.
real weird with it. So before we're doing this, I thought it would be helpful for me to give a quick, just a readout of Hollow Nest's lore before we start diving in and talking about things. And I think that the lore is so fascinating and interesting, and it's such a cool world setup that I wrote it down earlier today. Most of this was from memory. I fact-checked a couple of things, so if I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure this is pretty close to what it does, how the lore in this game works. So I'm just going to read off the bullet points that I had because I wrote it out, and I think it'll be more articulate that way. All right, so the lore breakdown. So many years before the game starts, an ancient and powerful being known as a worm comes from a land far away to the land of Hollow Nest. This creature comes here to die, and from his corpse is born the Pale King. The Pale King wants to be worshipped. He has a power that draws bugs to him and bestows upon them sentience. There are already lots of bugs living here in Hollow Nest, and many of them worship and follow a god called the Radiance. The Radiance keeps bugs dumb, but acts as kind of a guiding light for them. So it's sort of
that's
like a
what
hive
keeps
mind.
them dumb.
Yeah.
Not that they're bugs with no
Yeah, not
education.
that they're bugs. So the Radiance kind of keeps these bugs as sort of like a hive mind, giving them purpose but keeping them subjugated. The Radiance does not take kindly to the Pale King stealing her subjects and giving them sentience, so she flips the F out and attacks and releases a plague upon the land, an infectious radiant plague. The Pale King, wanting to contain the Radiance so that the kingdom he has built can remain eternal, gets freaky with another pale being named the White Lady and makes thousands of empty husks children born of light and void. These vessels must be hollow or devoid of will to be able to contain within them the Radiance, since the Radiance exerts control over bugs by manipulating their will.
In their dreams.
In their dreams, yes, in their dreams. And so you need a hollow vessel that is void of will to be able to contain the Radiance inside of it. One of these hollow children is selected as the Hollow Knight, and the Radiance is confined within it. And then 3 dreamers are chosen from the different parts of Hollow Nest. 2 of them are willing, but one of them, the spider beast from Hollow Nest, needs to be convinced and asks to bear a child with the Pale King in exchange for her services as a dreamer. So her and the Pale King engage in a dalliance, which is what it's called in the game. And this is how Hornet, one of the characters that you encounter in the game, is born. She is a child of the Pale King and the Beast of Deep Nest, and is also the protagonist of the upcoming Silksong game. Let's see, almost there. All right, a couple more points. The Hollow Knight is sealed away in the black egg at underneath the forgotten crossroads of Hollow Nest until the Radiance starts to seep out once again, because the Hollow Knight made the grave error of having a slight will. He developed feelings of love towards the Pale King. The Pale King, sensing that his plan has failed, decides the best course of action is to take his whole castle and piss off to the Dream Realm, where he ultimately perishes. The Radiance creeps out from the confinements of the Hollow Knight, awakens the presumably wandering knight, which is the player character, and thus your journey begins. The whole story makes interesting points about free will, entropy, and complacency, but it's a lot of setup, and that isn't really given to you at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, you see the knight, you jump down a thing, and the game just kind of starts. But as you go throughout the game and as you interact with characters, you start to piece together what has happened to this fallen kingdom before you, the player character, has gotten here, and it's so fascinating and so interesting and such a cool bit of lore. I particularly like the idea of the Radiance, something light and bright, being conveyed as kind of like the villain of this story, which is not typical. Usually when it's light versus dark, it's pretty clear, like dark is bad, light is good. So I thought that was a cool kind of flip the script moment, but really fascinating.
Inverse on the fantasy genre.
Yeah,
I like that.
Well, now that we have a basic understanding of the lore, and I have talked for way too long, I'll take turns talking about how we discovered this game, because I feel like we all kind of found this game.
I know the direct lineage.
Bounced off of it, so yeah. So.
Eric played it. Eric, tell us your origin story on this game.
So you sired us.
I did. It was me. You're welcome.
Yeah, he is
Listen,
yeah.
I am the source of all good indie games. That's not true. But I play a lot of indie games, and I recommend them to a lot of people. It's like, how many steps away are you from Kevin Bacon? You could play that game with indie games. It's like, how many steps are you away from Eric? I've played a lot of them and recommended them to a lot of people. So
I now know everybody I know that has played Hollow Knight. Like, it's either Eric told me to play it, and it's really just that Eric told me to play it, and then I've told everybody else to play it. But it all comes from Eric. Eric's the origin story for all of us.
So you're responsible for 10 million of the 14 to 15 million?
No, so
yeah,
you, Scott, Eric kind of tried to get Tucker, but that has been sticky.
Tucker.
Eric, how many people have you gotten to play this game?
I've tried to get all of my brothers to play it, and they had a similar reaction to Tucker, where, I mean, not similar, isn't because Tucker hates it, but they were like, I had a hard time, it wasn't for me, it felt too obtuse, and I was like, well, you gotta get the charm from Cornifer's wife, whose name I forget, but you just gotta get the charm from her that shows your location on the map, and then it's easy cheesy from there on.
Yeah, they really fucked up by not putting a compass on the map. I honestly think that is a core flaw of the game, because I didn't even know the compass existed, and I didn't know to go buy it. And it causes, so what happens with literally everybody I know who has ever played this game is they play the first 2 hours, they get to Hornet, they beat Hornet, and that is pretty linear path. And so that's how the game works. Up until that moment with Hornet, the game is basically linear. And then you get to Hornet, you beat her, and you're like, I have absolutely no idea where the shit I need to go next. And that's where people just drop. And then they put it down for 1 to 2 years, and then they're like, that game was kind of cute, let me pick it up again. And then they get addicted, and they spend 50 to 60 hours on it, a minimum.
Yeah.
No,
that's pretty much exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't put
and
it down
Tucker's
for
at
quite
the
a year,
drop-off point.
Yeah. We'll get
Scott
him back,
had the drop-off period. He came back to it. This is just a thing.
Yeah, I think that, so I only looked up how to do something in the game twice. I looked up at the very beginning, which is why I think it's interesting that people are like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, which I get that happens to everybody, but I thought it was pretty good at gently guiding you, letting you explore, but letting you find what you needed to find to make progress. But I think at the beginning I was like, I don't know where I am on the map, why can't I see myself on the map? And I looked up to like, can you do that? And then I found out that you had to buy the pin or the badge from the map shop, and then I was like, oh, and then from there it was easy breezy. And then at the very end of the game I looked up how to get like the true ending, because I missed like the one little thing you had to do for that, and I was like, oh, okay. But then the rest of the time I just kind of like made my way through myself and found almost everything on my own, and was just kind of like, yeah, it felt pretty intuitive and creative and interesting. But I never really had a problem finding my way around, which sounds like a brag, but I think it's more a testament to the game design that the world is so cleverly designed that I didn't ever feel lost. I felt like I was exploring, which is different.
Yeah, there's usually like a frustration of like I haven't accomplished anything, like gotten a milestone, gotten a power up in like 1 to 3 hours. I'm starting to wane on my energy for a game, so then I have to go look it up because I don't like that diminishing returns on the gameplay loop. And yet for this game, like usually I'll play a game for like 1 or 2 hours, and then I think, gosh, something else is nagging in the back of my head. I'm gonna go off and do that, and so I get 1 or 2 hours at most a couple times a week. This game, I straight up lost like 6 hours yesterday without even knowing that more than 2 had passed.
I have to make myself stop. It's like it's the opposite, where it's like I've got other things I need to do, and this one it's just like I have to pull myself away because I can't stop playing.
Yes, and I stay up way later than I normally do. And it's because and it's exactly that. Like I don't like looking things up in this game because I don't feel like I need to, because I just genuinely am addicted to wandering this area.
You don't mind backtracking over and over again or looping around because you're just swinging your nail around, just destroying everyone, obliterating them in your path. I love it.
It's a satisfying world to explore, and to kind of speak to Shan's point of like losing hours and just getting lost in this world and having a hard time putting it down. What they announced the release date for Silksong like about a week ago, maybe a little more than a week ago, like barely a week ago. And so I was like, oh, I need to start playing Hollow Knight right now. And I just fought the Radiance today. And so within 1 week, I just I couldn't put it down. I just blasted through this whole huge game because every free moment I had, I was playing Hollow Knight. It's an incredibly addictive game, and it's just good. It's just good, you guys. Just go play it.
Eric, you're really good at these reviews.
I am. This food is good. This muffin
this
is
game
bad.
is good.
I could be a game reviewer. This game is bad.
So this game, when I'm playing it, I mean, I love it. It's very addicting. But this, if you guys have seen It's Always Sunny, it's the Charlie McDennis episode. You know how Frank, he's playing the Charlie McDennis for the first time, and he's just like, I don't understand what's going on. And so the whole episode, he's like, I hate this game. I hate this game. But he's obviously having so much fun and is just right in the trenches with them. That's how I am with several games. But this one, I mean, I'm repeatedly just I hate this game. I hate this game. Like Tourette's almost, where I'm just and then a lot of swearing. I'm just like, shit. So it's something that gets my blood just boiling, and my adrenaline is going crazy, and that's what gets me to not want to put this game down for hours on end. And but it's very frustrating because especially when I first played it, it was when I first started kind of getting back into video games, and I was not very good at it, and I had to get good at it, and so get good. So for example, too many hours into the game, I found out through, I think, a video that popped up on my TikTok or something, was you can actually jump and you can bounce with your nail by, holding down the joystick.
Oh man, you didn't figure that out? That's
No.
You need to know that first thing.
Do you realize how many areas that opened up for me? But it was an embarrassing amount of time because it's just something I didn't think about even trying. And so, yeah, do you
No, I
realize-
remember watching a video and seeing the downward, hit the nail on the spikes and you bounce over. And I'm like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. But it was just, mind-blowing.
That's such an interesting, because I don't know, I picked up the game, and the first thing I do is I mash all the buttons in every direction. And so I picked up Hollow Knight, and I swing the nail, and I was like, oh, well, can I swing it up? You can. And then I was like, well, I bet if I jump, I could swing it down. I just I take a minute to I wonder what I can do with this game. So
Well, for the people who are listening, go watch our Switch bracket where we rated all these games, and in there Eric tells us how many hours he's dumped into just Switch games.
lots of games.
Hundreds of hours on a lot of these games. So that makes sense.
Thousands.
Yeah, well, just
hundreds
the top. I'm saying
individually.
individually. I'm saying individually. He was like, yeah, this
Thousands
game was
total.
over 100, and this one's over 200, and Anyway, so
I did my top 10 most played games, and the
It was
lowest amount of hours was I think
crazy.
110. Yeah.
yeah. So
Side
that
note,
makes sense. It
Eric's
was
children
intuitive.
has been going around soliciting for other dads to adopt them.
Yeah,
because they want
apparently you're
attention
supposed to
that
feed your
badly.
children. It's news to me. They've been doing just
Yeah.
fine on their own. Yeah.
I thought that they would just find scraps, right?
Yeah.
Like
Isn't that what, that's
the
what I did.
children feed
Isn't that what you
themselves.
do?
That's what they do, right?
They're not dead yet.
Yeah, so they're doing all right. Well, I think that Emerlie's point about like getting super, frustrated with the game is a good lead into a question that I wanted to ask you guys. What were some of the bosses you fought that you really struggled with, or that you like, that Shan talked about it a little earlier about fighting Hornet, but like what are the bosses that you had the most
First of
trouble
all,
with?
screw Hornet round 2. I remember the first time I played this game, Hornet round 1 took me forever because I didn't know what I was doing. And this time I like literally beat her on my first try. I was like, I didn't even think I remembered how to play this game. But maybe I've gotten a little better at like my response time through playing a lot of other games, or maybe like the actuation of the Switch 2's buttons is just so tight that I felt like I
That's
was
probably
more in
what it is,
control. It's a little bit of that. I mean, those buttons have a really tight actuation, but there was just like there was like an intuition that I guess I had built from like this is the first game that made me realize that bosses telegraph their moves, and that you should actually like learn them and then beat them, and that you should focus on dodging until you just naturally have an opening to hit. Don't focus on hitting, focus on dodging, and then the rest will fall in place. Like, I changed my complete mindset around how to play games because of this game, and it made me a better player going to others. But I thought it had been so many years since I played this game that I wouldn't remember how to play it, and I just kind of like had that learned intuition for like, no, you need to approach bosses completely differently that I learned the first time. And I'm speeding through the whole game, and I think, okay, I'm actually pretty good at this game. I can beat all these bosses on my first to third tries. Then I get to Hornet round 2, and I played her like 20 times. I'm pissed off, and I decided the moment that the level that boss becomes unfair is when she starts putting out spikes, and she can do it even twice in a row, and it's like I felt like there should have been a cap. Like, she can only put out twice, and then she can't do it again until they've been cleared out.
You can hit
I
the
was getting
spikes and they
pissed
go
off.
away, right?
I know, but like,
Okay.
I'm so mad at like running around trying to like focusing on these stationary objects, trying to hit them out of the place, while Hornets just like flying all across that area, just wiping me out. I'm like, I can't focus on 9 of these little thorns at the same time that I'm fighting her, and I just can't do it all. And I thought, this is unfair. This is unfair. I'm mad at her. Like, they crossed the line here. I was so infuriated.
They crossed a line.
Oh man.
I think what we all need to do based off of this interaction is we all need to do some of the Pantheon fights in Godhome, like on a stream or something, and just piss off the whole internet with how bad we are at this.
Yeah. Every time I lost a Hornet, like I'd give just like a solid "F you," just like under my breath, because like I have a rule
I'm not
for
going to play
myself where it's
Silksong
like,
anymore.
where it's like I have a rule for myself where it's like I'm not going to let my gaming affect my family life. I don't want them to feel like my anger taken out on them because I'm frustrated with the game. So I give myself like 5 seconds to express my frustration, and then it's turned off, and I'm reset, and I'm happy again. But like, and so I just give one solid "F you," and then I'm happy again. I'm ready to try again.
Yeah, there's a lot of F-bombs that get dropped during this game. Like, a lot of these bosses took me way longer than, bosses like Rat King. Like, it's embarrassing how long they took. I will say something that really made a difference was realizing that I should just stay put, because in a lot of the bosses fights I would just be jumping all over the screen,
Making yourself a target, yeah.
making myself a target, exactly. And it took me a long time to realize, like, I need to stop doing that and just like you said, focus on the pattern. And sometimes you just stand in place and just jump and just kind of avoid something, and then you just keep standing in that place, and you don't have to be all over the place. And that made a huge difference. And
Also, here's like a tip, like go into a boss and try not hitting them at all, right? Like the first time you play a boss, just go in there and just like try dodging as long as you can until you die, and then try again and then start attacking, right? Like you need to learn the moves first, and you're not going to win your first time, so just learn the patterns.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask Emerlie, did you have any bosses in particular that you remember giving you a hard time, or
All of them.
all of them?
That's fair.
Probably took me like 30 attempts to finally beat the Mantis Lords. And
The Mantis was the first big challenge for me.
Yeah,
like,
it was
yes,
so
Hornet was a
bad.
challenge, but it only took like 5 or 10 tries my first time. The Mantis, like, I think was the core moment that I learned that I had to read telegraphed moves and dodge them, and then I beat it like immediately after learning that.
Yeah. So the Mantis Lords we've been talking about most difficult, least favorite bosses. The first time I played through this game, the Mantis Lords were like where this game came alive for me. Is I was like, I went, I was kind of able to kind of get by with past video game experiences and, use my learned video game literacy to get through most of the things. And then I got to the Mantis Lords and it kind of threw a wrench in like how I was used to playing video games, because there's 3 Mantis Lords. And for the first half of the fight, you're fighting one of them. And then you defeat that Mantis Lord, and then all of a sudden there's 2 of them, and they have the same attack patterns, but they're happening at the same times at different intervals, and you have to simultaneously be dodging both of them. And it was just like too much for my brain, and I was really struggling, having a hard time. And then like all of a sudden, it just kind of like clicked in my brain. It aligned, and I just like how Hollow Knight works and the flow of combat just sort of snapped into place in my brain. And then I went back into that fight and I beat them and I didn't get hit once, which is like one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me in a game.
Like,
Is
did
I
anyone
went
see
into
that?
this, yeah, I went into this complete Zen state where I just like, that's the moment where like, because I was really enjoying the game up to that point, but that's the moment where it like, the game got its hooks into me and I was like, oh, this is something special. Like, this is something really special.
Yeah,
And
well,
it helps a lot that the Mantis Lord's music is probably the best track in the whole album. It's so good.
Well, Hornet Round 2, like the second time I went into that last night, I didn't get hit once up until she started putting out thorns, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really good at this. I can know how to read it. I know how to like jump around." And then like I proceeded to play it 30 more times, and she just was destroying me. Like I could never dodge the attacks the same way I did the second time. And I don't know what it is. Like there's a primitive part of your brain that once it locks in, you can do this where you almost get hit never. But if you're not in that like Zen state, you get hit a shit ton.
Yeah,
And
you're just
I don't know
thinking
how
about
to
it too
get into
much.
it on purpose. Yeah, it's overthinking. I got the yips immediately.
Yeah.
To actually answer your question is, probably like least favorite or the one I really struggled with. So many of them for reals, but the Watchers, I think, in the City of Tears.
Oh,
The ones at the
Watchers,
top
where
where
there's a bunch of them.
there's 6 of them. That's where I'm at right
there's
now,
so
and I'm
many.
infuriated.
Yes, that one's so
Right.
frustrating. You crush one with a chandelier though, right? Did
Oh
you do
no, I
that?
didn't know about
Oh no,
that.
you can
Yeah.
do that? I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Really? So right
That's
before
so
you
cool.
walk into
That's
the
my
room,
pogo moment where
Yeah.
you didn't know you could pogo, but there we go. We all have blind spots. Yeah.
Yeah. So right before you walk into the room, there's kind of a hidden area right
Hidden
above
up.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
so
jump
cool.
up, and there's like this rope up there, and you can break the rope. And when you go back down, one of them is crushed by a chandelier, and so
Oh, I love
it's
that.
just
I had no
one
idea.
less. Still infuriating to do them, or to fight them. And then I think I also really hate Crystal Guardian.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
yeah.
so-
and I was
The
like,
crystal head.
so I thought, yeah. So I decided I
Engineer.
wanted the shade cloak to be able to like hurt these stupid knights as I'm dashing through them because it's such a dash game. And so I thought, okay, I'm gonna look up where do I go get that, and then I found out it's the Crystal Guardian, and now so back to back. You're just hitting my trigger points right now. I'm infuriated thinking about these
you're
two
so
boss
triggered.
fights.
So
I am.
here's my thing with that I found. What makes me have the most of a hard time with a boss fight is because first Crystal Guardian, I felt like you got to be quick on your feet, but pretty fair. I was able to get through that without too much trouble. But then there's you beat him once, and then he goes upstairs, and then there's a second boss battle with him where he's the enraged guardian, and I don't know what it is, but I have the hardest time with that fight.
Yes.
And I think it's because all of his hits do 2 damage.
And that's
so,
why.
like,
That's once I realized that, I was like, "That's not fair. That's not you."
that's not
And then I go,
I hate this.
I hate this game.
Screw
I
you!
hate this
Screw
game.
everyone! Stupid game!
"That's not fair. That's not fair."
And it's hard because normally you get hit and then you can kind of dodge and wait for an opening and then heal, try to find a moment to heal. But if everything does 2 damage and you're dodging around and then you get hit again, now instead of having to heal for 2, it's 4. Like, that's crazy. So it can compound really quickly, and so it just demands more perfection.
Yeah.
I was able to finally
That
do
sounds-
it, but it's like it makes it substantially more difficult.
Well, it's all
No,
the
that's
GD
that's what I
lasers.
realized. Yeah,
Full
if you
lasers.
get hit twice, you lost the battle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all
Well,
the
yeah,
GD lasers, and they're all coming from different directions. You're trying not to be sliced in half. It's just infuriating.
Yeah.
also
So
very
that's one
frenetic.
that I had a really hard time with on my first playthrough, and it gave me a moderately hard time on this one. I think I tried it probably like 5 or 6 times before I got it, so not too crazy, but like it still was enough that I was like, screw this guy. So yeah, and then that one, and I would definitely not call it. This is a double edged. Wario cheats. This boss battle is one that I would say is an interesting one because it's probably the one that I have the most trouble with, but it's one of my favorites, is the Radiance. When you fight like at the very end, that is that boss battle is really hard for me. I'm not good at it. I've only ever beaten it once. It's really hard. But I love it. I think it's fantastically designed. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. I don't feel like it's unfair. I just am not very good at it. So it's
You
a
need
double-edged
to
sword.
get good.
Get good.
No, I think the unfairness comes from having to replay the final boss before you play the Radiance.
I see, but I don't have a hard time with the Hollow Knight. I can
Yeah,
can
but I
get to
do
the
think it's
Radiance without
unfair.
getting hurt at all. Like,
Anytime, like, the thing that I thought was disqualifying
Well, but-
about this game was that, like, every time you die, you had to, like, the save point was immediately next to the boss, and you can't, having to go through enemies to get back to a boss is infuriating. And so anything that, like, stops me from getting right back into, like, immediately playing the boss battle so that I can learn where I made a mistake and try again. And for me, that also counts for the Radiance at the end, where it's like, okay, I have to beat this guy again. So every time I get to the Radiance, I maybe survive 5 seconds longer, and then I have to go back and play the whole boss battle again before I get back to the Radiance. It's like, I can't learn fast enough if I have to go through that shit every single time. That was infuriating to me.
yeah, I didn't feel super bothered by that.
Well, you
After
can
a
go
few
to hell.
tries, I mean, I don't know. I can totally understand why that would be annoying, but like particularly with the Radiance, that one didn't really bother me because I feel like the Hollow Knight is kind of tough the first time, but he has pretty readable patterns, and after you do it a couple of times, it's and also once you get to the Radiance, it refills your health, so it's not like you have to go with a handicap from the battle before. So it's frustrating to have to do it over and over again, but I
You're
didn't
telling me,
personally
but like
feel
I
very
have to,
bothered by that.
but I have to wait like like I have to get back there. Then I have to like fight this thing for 5 minutes. Like
You're fighting
it's
that
the
thing for 5
duration.
minutes?
I don't know, like 3 to 5 minutes, right? Like the point is that it's like I spend 3 to 5 minutes fighting that boss, only to then die within 10 seconds at the Radiance. It's like I can't get good fast enough if I'm constantly going to, like, I hate that 3 to 5 minutes when I want to get right back to it and learn.
Yeah, I don't.
Even if
I
it's
can
easy,
totally
it's
see
still
that.
a deterrence.
I totally see that. It's
To the
not something
hardest
that bothers
fight in
me
the game.
personally, but I understand. Yeah.
Okay, we
Well,
need to treat
until-
Shan with kid
until God
gloves
help. Yeah.
because he's very triggered right now.
He's getting really worked
I'm in
up.
the middle
getting-
of some of the most annoying
he's
fights
hot.
right now.
He's really hot right now.
Yeah, you should, like, I put down my console like 5 minutes before we hit record, and I am just like on fire about
Blood
these
boil.
bosses.
Who were you fighting just before, Shan, that got you all worked
It was the
up?
Crystal Guardian, and then like 30 minutes before that, I was fighting those knights, and it's
The
it's
Watcher
like back to
Knights,
back.
yeah.
I am angry right now.
So don't be. We all really love this game. It's-
This
Shan's
this
just
happens
all
to
worked up.
everybody.
Yeah, this happens. It's just part of it. Yeah, it's sort of like the It's like people who enjoy Dark Souls games, but not quite to the same degree. I feel like Dark Souls is a whole other beast, but yeah. So lots of really great boss battles. Lots of really tough boss battles. But I don't know, any other favorite boss battles that you like? I talked a little bit about the Mantis Lords and how much I love those. What are some of y'all's favorite boss battles?
I really like Soul Master.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean he's infuriating, but I also really like Soul Master. I thought he was fun.
I like the music for that one. I love when you're going through the Soul Sanctum and it's like that organ music, and then it's like really quiet, and then you walk out into kind of like this like rooftop area. He appears out of nowhere, and then the music just goes nuts, like super cool. I love that part.
I love when he crashes through the glass, and then you have to keep fighting him. Like just so unique.
I like when he dies. He looks like a little deflated balloon. He like, and then like off to the side.
Exactly.
Easily my favorite, and it's probably mostly based on design, is the Empty Vessel. That thing is a gorgeous boss fight, and I love having be a parallel to your own character and just filled with this infected, and then after you beat him, the infected just takes over one of the areas. Just I mentioned how I was so obsessed with what he looked like that Eric made this little thing for me, which if you can't see, he made me a fake amiibo of Hollow Knight standing on the empty vessel. Yeah, Eric and I both have this.
That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
so this is actually the Knight's Shade. Yeah, but the Empty Vessel is that's a super cool boss battle. Yeah, and when you beat him, then that's what causes the infection to go, because the very first starting area is called the Forgotten Crossroads.
Oh,
but then
is
I
that
think,
what triggered that?
I think so. Once you beat the Empty Vessel,
yeah.
then the Forgotten Crossroads becomes like consumed with infection, and so it changes this area, and there's different enemies in it, which is another really cool thing to see in a Metroidvania game where there's lots of backtracking. Is for like at a certain point of the game for one of the starting areas to evolve and become more difficult to kind of grow with the player. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, Metroid, Super Metroid or something, like some of those early Metroid games were really good about like, you have to go back here, it's a redux, like the whole thing has changed and it makes it far more interesting. Yeah, I thought the Infected Crossroads was such a fun and beautiful idea, and I loved it up until I realized that it blocks some of the easy paths to navigate.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
if it was
that
just
was weird.
harder enemies, I didn't like that, where it's like, okay, so now you're just going to force me to, like, do more backtracking when I'm
There's,
just
like,
trying to
one
explore
part.
freely.
Yeah, there's like one part, like a heavily it's just blocked and so you have to go around. So I agree. I thought that was kind of weird.
Like,
Wasn't
they
a
do it
huge
to
fan of
force
that,
you into
but-
more enemy battles, but I didn't like that.
Yeah, I get why it's there, but I would have preferred to just keep that pathway open. But yeah, so I mean, talking about like the world and everything, there's so many cool characters in Hollow Nest. I mean, what are some of your guys' favorite characters that you encounter in this game?
Coral.
Obviously, Coral's
Obviously.
great. Yeah,
And
he's a good one.
Cloth.
Yeah. Oh, Cloth is sad. So that's actually one of the ones when you fight the Traitor Lord, which is one of the Mantis Lords, but he takes in, betrays his sisters and takes in the infection and then goes and, lives in the Queen's Gardens there. But so if you fight the Traitor Lord, you go there with Cloth, and Cloth ends up getting killed by the Traitor Lord, and it makes me so sad every time. But
Yeah.
so that's another boss battle that gave me a lot of trouble.
But it was a really cool moment because you gave us a list of like questions you're going to ask. So just kind of throwing this in there. One of my favorite moments, but it was also really sad and was just shocking, was when Cloth sacrificed herself, and like she gets impaled, and then she just whacks Mantis, the Mantis Lord over the head, and then they both just die, and you're like, oh, what just happened?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. And it's just like, okay, great. That was sad. It's just so sad and eerie, just the whole game. And that moment just crushed me.
Yeah, the Hollow Knight is a really good mix of like adorable and just like grim sadness.
There's
It's
a word
this
for
weird
it.
combo. Yeah.
Shan told us there's a word for it, Shan. What was it? It's like
Are
how
you
I really
talking
love
about
things that are
grimdark, or-
creepy. No,
Oh.
I said once that I
Kawaii?
really love...
Oh, it's Kawaii. So kawaii is like this Japanese word for like cute things, and they have quite the culture for it, where everything has those like tiny little dot eyes and these little derp faces, and so you want to buy every single thing that exists in Japan.
Stupid
But
cute. Yeah.
but creepy kawaii is like you taking that aesthetic and then you're giving it this like surreal veneer of like creepiness, because it's surreal to have like the creepy juxtaposed with the cute, and so if that's the word that you're going for, like like it feels like this creepy kawaii just kind of like it defines this game in a really good way, I think.
Yeah, so I've realized that I really love a lot of things that are creepy kawaii, like this, and I love Mimikyu. Mimikyu is one of my favorite Pokemon, and it's just, I love things that are creepy. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and like look up creepy kawaii, but look on the Google images, and you'll like immediately get the vibe of what I'm talking about.
Incognito window, yeah.
No, I think you need to expose this search to so that it starts creeping up in your algorithm. I do think that's necessary.
Okay.
I love the vibe, but anyway.
I love
It's
it.
super cool. So what about you, Shan? Favorite characters, favorite like story moments, or yeah?
I was always fascinated with Hornet as a character. There's just like this allure and intrigue, and they withheld enough on her to just give her this give her the intrigue that made her captivating enough to deserve this full game entry. That being said, the character that's catching my attention this time is Zote, and he's like a son of a bitch, right? Like this guy is so grumpy.
He's the worst,
but
and the best. He's
the worst. Like I every time I meet him, I'm like, I hate you right now, and yet I love you. Like he makes me so mad about
figurine online, and I think I need it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I do love cloth. Like I love this. Did you say it's a boy or a girl?
Girl.
Yeah, so I didn't know that, but like it gives off this like burly, happy man vibe or trope, where it's like, you know, those people that are like big in frame, they're but
Haggard?
like they're like a haggard, like they just want to give you bear hugs. They're relentlessly optimistic. Like there's just like this like jolly man vibe that cloth gives off, and that's really fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go, I mean, I've got a couple of characters that I really, really like. I'm going to go with one of the most obvious ones. I love Cornifer, the cartographer. Like, I love that whenever you're in an area and you're like, you don't have a map yet and you're in too deep and you're like, I feel like I'm about to die. And then you like see some papers on the ground, or you hear some humming and you're like, oh, it's Cornifer, he's gonna save me. Like and then you follow the literal paper trail, and then you can buy a map from him, which it has a gameplay relief to it where you feel like a familiarity for this character and a relief when you see or hear him, because you know, like, oh, I'm about to get a map. And it helps so much that he's like just got this super adorable design with his glasses and all the maps in his backpack, and he's just sitting there humming and doodling, and I adore his character design and the way that the gameplay mechanics make you feel when you're around him. I think it's like a safe zone, like a safe haven. It's like comfort, and I just think he's great. I love Cornifer.
Also, because you know there's no enemies that are going to whack you when you hear him humming.
You can
a safe area.
I never trust a safe area after Resident Evil 1. Right, like
all trust is broken.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit skeptical, and there are a few games like The Last of Us 2 that's like, okay, that was deserved.
The bench where you get bum rushed.
Yeah, no, that was such a cool moment.
You still don't know when it's going to happen, but like safe spots, like one of the greatest tropes is to subvert a safe space, and then none of the safe spaces feel safe anymore. It adds to the tension. Yeah.
So. And I don't think they do that in this game with Cornifer. I think anytime you hear him, it's pretty much guaranteed. Like, yeah, you're good. Go hang out with Corny and chill for a minute. So I'm a big fan of him. I also really, really like the Nailsmith. I think that he's got a super cool kind of tragic story. Did you guys ever did you upgrade your nail all the way? Either of you?
I needed it.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask, like, I've on my second playthrough now. I just about finished my second playthrough. The first time, you upgrade your nail all the way, and you know the nailsmith is like, hey, my work is complete. I feel, you know, a sense of whatever, and He's like, I've worked so hard, and the only thing I desire in this world is to feel like the cut of the nail, the workmanship. Please strike me down. I'm tired. Haven't I earned this? Kind of a thing. And it's like, oh man, that is some heavy shit, dude. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and he just like, he's standing on the edge of this cliff. And so the first time I'm playing the game, I'm like, man, he wants this. I like, he like, it says it's like his greatest wish. And like, he says, haven't I earned this? And it's like a deep, like depressing, kind of dark, dying world. And so I was like, sure, dude, I'll help you out. And I cut him down and he falls off the cliff. And fun fact, you can find his body like down at the bottom of the pits where they throw all the bodies from the Colosseum of Fools later. And so that's what I did the first playthrough. And I felt kind of like oddly at peace with it, but also like a little bit guilty. And then I found out in the second playthrough that you don't have to kill him.
Oh.
If you leave him alive, he lives a happy life and finds other meaning.
So you bangs a bunch of whores and fills
probably,
that empty
yeah,
spot.
no, but there's actually like if you leave him alive and you leave the area and then come back, he'll be gone. He's left his blacksmith, his nailsmith shed, like he's not there anymore. But then if you go to Greenpath, where you find, I forget his name, one of the guys, the painter guy, where you learn one of the nail arts from like the painter dude,
Yeah.
that the nailsmith is hanging out with the painter guy, and they're like carving little wooden figurines, and he's like, I was mad at you at first for not striking me down, but now I realize that there's other things like pursuits to chase after. Thank you for not blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I killed you the first time. I didn't mean it. I thought it's what you wanted.
Good job.
Yeah, so
No,
feeling better about myself in the second playthrough.
I really like that about this game. Like, they were never precious about any characters, so like killing every and any character off just added to the sense of despair and entropy and death that just is pervasive. Especially when you get to the abyss and it's just littered with bodies. I love that vibe, right? Like, it feels like nothing is precious and this place is empty and soulless and bleak.
So also, I want to ask you guys, did either of you ever find all of the grubs?
Yes.
No.
So,
Oh,
Emerlie, what happens when
horrible.
you find all the grubs?
I mean, do we say it in front of Shan if he doesn't
I don't know, Shan, do you want
I'm
to
not
just
going to
wait?
do it.
Okay,
I'm still
so-
not going to 100% this game.
Okay.
But the
so
grubs are, that's fine, okay.
They're so cute. So, yeah, after you collect all the grubs, you keep going back to Grubfather to go get your rewards every now and then. And so when you go back to visit after the last one is collected, they're all gone and they're all inside of him. He's like big and fat and he's just sitting there. He ate them. Well, supposedly like I did some extra research on this morning. Supposedly a lot of people are like, oh, he ate them, but supposedly he also might have just been sacrificing himself to like be a cocoon for them. But
Yeah,
everyone's initial thought is he ate them.
Yeah,
You
that's
did all this
that's
work for what?
exactly, so that he could have a real big dinner. But then I think there is pretty significant, like if you dig into the lore, there's pretty significant evidence to show that like this is potentially a part on like their metamorphosis into whatever comes at, like the grubber flies, I think is what they can eventually turn into. But at first glance, I think there's 40 of them. You collect 40 of these grubs, and then you go there, and they're all happy, and they're singing, all 40 of them, and
Yeah,
they
so
throw down
cute.
all the rewards, and you're like, oh yeah, it feels so good, and then you leave, and if you ever come back after that, the Grubfather has just eaten them all.
Yeah, and then you can just sit there and bounce on top of him, and he's just like,
You go, ooh. Yeah. So
I
I
love
thought,
the name the Grubfather, by the way.
Isn't
Like,
that
he
great?
was giving me Marlon Brando vibes, obviously.
they do such a good job at like naming all the names in this game just have a sense of like they just feel like they fit in this world. Like even just simple things like the area that's full of spiders and is really creepy and is like a deep dark corner of Hollow Nest is called Deep Nest, which is like not a super creative name, but it's very evocative and it feels dark and like it feels old and cryptic and like part like a dying corner of this world. I think it's really so. Yeah, all the naming conventions in this game are very full. So Grubfather feels very appropriate for this world. So I have a couple other little bullet points to talk about things that I really enjoyed. What are some other like lore or story moments? Did you guys have anything you wanted to share, or things that you thought were really cool? Or
I think something that really was such a big moment was realizing that the character that you are playing is not Hollow Knight. The whole time you think, oh yeah, I am the Hollow Knight, and you don't have a name for your character, and so you're just referring to it as Hollow Knight. And then you get, not all the way to the end, but you get pretty far into the game, and then you find out that you're not Hollow Knight, that there's another vessel who's already done the job, and you're just trying to go and fix what is broken, basically. And so you're kind of just this discarded, hollow, empty vessel that is just kind of wandering around, and then you kind of find purpose with, okay, well, there's different tasks to do, and oh, actually I can go fix this. And so I loved that moment of realizing, oh, I'm not the Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
I love the Hollow Knight getting sealed away. I think any good drama needs to have a dark ending that makes you feel like that was surprising but inevitable. That old tire trope. It's like I think that you get an alternate ending if you beat Radiance. I don't know exactly, but I prefer the ending where you get sealed away because I like a tragic ending. That's fun to me.
Well, the ending where you defeat the Radiance is also tragic, just in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of different endings. I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, and none of them are happy. Yeah.
No.
I think there's 6 endings, and so I think either 2 or 3 of them are locked behind the Godmaster stuff, and so I'm never ever going to see those because it's too hard. It's just too much. I can't do it. I'll try, but I don't have a lot of faith that I'll ever get there. Well, because one of to unlock the final ending is you have to do what's called a pantheon of these godlike creatures, which is just souped up versions of every single boss, one after the other in a row, and then you fight an intense version of the Radiance. And I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do that. That's just not something I think I'm capable of. So I'm going to watch a video on YouTube, and I'm going to call it a day.
That is for adults who don't have or a lot of responsibility, or the special kind of autistic where they can just sit there and just aggressively attack these games over and over and over again until they're literally perfect at it. Like you said, I just don't think I have it in me to do Pantheon, and yeah,
too much.
The rest
It's a
of the
lot.
game will have to be good enough. Yeah.
Eric, you have a brother with autism. Where does he manifest his hyperfocus? Is it on games or is it on something else?
No, he really he hyperfixates on I don't really know how to describe it. He gets really focused in on prepping for things, and so if he's got something coming up in
That's
his
not as
life,
fun.
he gets really ready to he does lots of research and he does this and that, and he's like, I'm going to buy this when this comes up, and he's like, and then when if this thing happens, then I can do this. And so he does that. And I mean, he plays lots of video games. I don't think he's finished a lot of them though, because he doesn't have I think he gets they don't hold his attention for super long. So yeah, he's
got the wrong kind of autism.
He's got for video
bad.
games. It's
I feel ADHD. I feel like it's a kind of superpower, but it's right before you slip into having autism and having stunted social abilities. It's I get the hyperfocus sometimes, but I still can be socially intelligent, and so it's right in the sweet spot to turning into something that I wouldn't be able to control and would make some things harder in life. And but it also makes things hard. My wife didn't know why she was frustrated with me for half of our marriage until we
why are you the way that you are?
Why don't you listen to me? It's literally impossible.
I'm just not
sometimes.
listening. Yeah.
So I can have charisma, but I still fail at listening, and it's there's give and take. There are pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Pantheon of the Gods is it's not something I've got in me. But for all of you who can do it, that's so great for you. And I just, how
Bully for
tell me
you.
how to do that. So I think I just have to be happy, fighting the Radiance. And that's just, that's what I get out of this. I will say, though, that when you go to, as part of like getting ready to go to the Radiances, you go to the White Palace, which is where the Pale King like sealed everything away. You have to go there for to get like the true ending. There is also a secret area of that palace where you can go through the Path of Pain, which is like, it's not combat focused, but it is a extremely treacherous, very difficult like platforming challenges where you have to jump around buzzsaws and like poke off of spikes that are coming in and out of walls, and pinpoint precision. Really, it's not easy. It's not easy, and I have done that. So I can't do the Pantheon of the Gods,
You
but
finished
I
the Path of
got
Pain?
through the Path of Pain.
I did the Path of Pain.
Yeah,
Platforming was easier than bosses
Yay.
for me.
Yeah, I think so. I'm better at platforming than I am at combat, and so the Path of Pain was tough but manageable for me. And I haven't beaten it yet this time because I just haven't gotten back to it yet. But on my first playthrough, I did get through the Path of Pain, and you're rewarded with like a 2-second cutscene that normally I would be very mad about it, but I thought it was beautiful and exactly what I wanted. I thought it was just, it shows the moment. So you get through this whole like Path of Pain, and then you see, I guess you haven't done it, Emerlie. Do you want me to not say?
No, I've seen it. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's like, I'm trying to think. Have I finished it or have I not finished it? Because there's like an area in the White Palace where it's really aggressive, all the platforming. But then I feel like there's another area. What am I thinking of?
So you go through, you do platforming challenges, and then at the end there's the Pale King, and then you get the half of the King's soul that you then turn into like the Void Heart or whatever.
Okay, yeah, I've done that.
So you've done that, and then there's the Path of Pain, where once you reach the end of the Path of Pain, you see like a memory of the Hollow Knight and the Pale King, and so it's this moment where you see what causes the Hollow Knight to not be hollow. There's like this moment where the Pale King and the Hollow Knight are kind of looking out over their kingdom, and like the Pale King kind of looks down at his son, and the Hollow Knight looks back up at him, and it's just like, it's really simple animation, but you can just like, it does such a good job of conveying like, oh, the Hollow Knight loves its father. And that little seed of love in its mind, and this isn't explicitly stated, this is, the lore according to Eric, but that little seed of love in its mind has created a slight blight of will, and has made the Hollow Knight no longer actually hollow, and is what causes the Radiance to eventually start bleeding out because of this bit of love that it has for its father.
Okay, so I have seen that scene, and I think that's where I was getting a little bit confused, because I've played most of the game, but I couldn't wait to finish the game because I'm trying to do more than 100%, and so I became obsessed with the lore, and I just started binge watching all of these YouTube videos, and I couldn't avoid like all these extra scenes, and I just absorbed it. And like some of these videos I've watched way too many times, just trying to commit it to memory. And so, yeah, I have seen that scene, and it's really interesting.
Great.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Mossbag is another YouTube channel, and he does a really, really great job of breaking down Hollow Knight lore in a digestible way while also being really funny. He's super funny.
Yeah.
So I like his videos a lot. I watched a few of them to kind of prep for this to, freshen up my lore. But yeah, so I like the story in this game is so deep and so complex. I love all the characters. I think the gameplay is like just pin sharp. This really genuinely is one of my very favorite games in all the world. And so I've been sitting on this episode waiting for a while, and I'm really excited and happy that we get to talk about it and stuff. And I feel like I'm kind of wrapping up here. I don't know if you guys have any other last things you want to say before we, get too far into me saying, let's be done.
Yeah, so actually, there's a couple points I wanted to make because I was doing some extra research today, and I've thought about this a bit, and so this game is in my top 3 favorite video games. It's Twilight Princess, The Last of Us Part 2, and then Hollow Knight. Not in that order. They're all just like all in the top 3.
Tied for first place, yeah.
Tied for first, yes. Because I just don't want to pick. They're all my babies, my children. And so I realized that Hollow Knight and The Last of Us are the same game. They're the same exact game because you're playing this special character who cannot be infected, and you have this infection that's kind of ravishing the land, turning all of these other characters into basically zombies, and you have the chance to make things right, to fix this infection that's ravaged the land. And so I realized that they're the same game. And I love
But then
them
right
both
before
so
you
much.
do, Joel comes in and he shoots up a hospital.
And just obliterates.
Whoops.
and both games have mushrooms, because there is like a mushroom spore area, in Hollow Knight, and then of course the cordyceps. So just thinking that through, I'm like, dang, I just like
You've got
the
a
same
type.
game over again.
Yeah.
I've got a type, and I do love Twilight Princess. Kind of like Midna's kind of that creepy, cute imp-like character, and you've also got this darkness that's kind of ravishing the land. I'm like, dang, yeah, I do have a type. Also, when I was doing some research today and watching video lore and just kind of trying to figure it out more and more, and I was also talking to ChatGPT, and I was like, wait, I don't understand what the void is. Can you, because watching a video, it didn't fully explain it. It was just like, well, many years ago there was the void, and then later there was a civilization, and then the Radiance came about, whatever. And I was like, but what is the void? It just said something like it was a goo, or kind of this black substance. And so I was asking ChatGPT, I'm like, well, what is it? Is it sentient? Did it used to be something and then it turned into this? And it said that it's kind of open-ended and we really don't know. And then it just kind of this aha moment where I was like, it's a smoke monster. This is lost, because you've got Radiance, who's the light, but also kind of a bitch. And then you've got, you've got the void, which is just kind of this not real thing, and it's the smoke monster. And so I was kind of like excited. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's lost. And
It's lost. Everything is lost. Yeah.
yeah, and then you've got, pick one of the characters who's trying to control the island, but is not one of those two. You got the slightly lesser characters who's trying to control the island and everyone around it. That's the Pale King, right? And so I was just getting really excited about that. And then it was also this realization of, I was like, oh, it's Venom too. You've got the Void is, what?
The bad one with Tom Hardy?
It can be any of them, because they're all connected.
Not that one.
Not that one.
that one.
Pick a better one. Yeah.
Shame, by the way, shame on America for watching that movie. Like, they kept
I didn't
making
get
more
into
because
it.
you watched
It's
it.
your fault that there's 3 of them. All of you. Yeah.
They made a third
Shame
one?
on America. They made 3.
I didn't even realize they got to a third.
And I was so mad watching the first one. I was like, I think the worst part that like broke my brain was when Venom pops out and starts talking to Tom Hardy, and like face to face. I'm like, what the hell am I watching? What is this? I was infuriated. And then they
I
made
never
2
did
more.
Watch them. Oh, jeez, that's crazy. And then all
He
these
like
other
chewed
good
up the
movies get
scenery. He
canceled.
was like Tom Hardy, phenomenal actor. What the hell was he doing in that movie?
Doesn't Venom have like a Cookie Monster voice?
Yeah,
It's just
kinda
Tom Hardy
bad.
talking like Cookie Monster.
Yeah. But I realized like the Void is just kind of this black like goo, right? And it's like kind of a symbiote, and I was like, oh, that's Venom. So anyways, I was just like really excited, like kind of realizing how this parallels a lot of other pop culture things.
Yeah, Eric, I love this, right? Like, I love them approaching Tom Hardy and they're like, we need you, you're perfect. But you're going to have to do voice acting. Have you ever done voice acting? He's like, well, I can do Cookie Monster, sort of. And they're like, yes, ship it. We're doing it.
Nom, 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 nom.
Give me cookies.
Just throw some marbles in his mouth.
Yes.
Well, Emerlie, while I was doing some research today, I found 2 little nuggets that might help elucidate some slight information about the Void.
Okay.
There was like way before the worm that birthed the Pale King came to Hollownest, there's evidence that the bugs used to worship the Void as like the source of darkness, that some of the bugs worshipped the Void. And also, if you are able to dream nail the Radiance, you know how you hit things with a dream nail and you get little bits of their like inner thought monologue. The Radiance refers in Godhome, once you have exerted control over the Void, the Void given shape as the night. If you dream nail Ultimate Radiance, like at the very end, she refers to you as like her ancient enemy. So there's a possibility that there was like way back when that they were opposing godlike forces, that the Radiance was a source of light and the Void was a source of darkness, and they were enemies. So not a lot to go on, but there is some little nuggets that I learned today while I was watching and reading stuff.
I just love all the deep lore in this game and how much effort they put into it, and there's so many layers to it as well. But yeah, this is just Lost. This is the island. And
you two have gone way deeper on lore than I ever have. I never really got into it. I think it's fun, it's beautiful, but it's all diegetic storytelling, mise en scène. Like everything is either as you see it or you have to go talk to characters. So it's not really lore as told through a linear narrative with branching parts that you can dig into. Like clearly I lost my mind with Death Stranding and just like spent tens of hours.
Those episodes, Shan really got deep.
I got so deep on everything, but it's because there was like a narrative that hooked me, and then I wanted to learn more based on what the narrative was feeding me, and I wanted to learn all the tangential pieces. This one, it's like I never really tied all the lore together. I don't really know generally what's going on in this game. It's a perfectly fine way to have fun with this game, but from what I understand, the creators of this game, they didn't really have a story fleshed out. They just kind of like would create things in different parts, and then they would give them dialogue, and then the lore as a cohesive tapestry was really kind of created in the aftermath of the game's release, and people like tying it all together. That wasn't, from what I understand, they didn't really do that on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know the intentions of the developers, but I have a hard time believing that how connected it all is was completely by accident. Like I think
not by accident.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like they didn't have this whole universe in mind. I think they would create individual things and then add story there, and it all just kind of like built on itself. But it's a completely fascinating way to do it, something like indie game development, where it's like you don't really have to plan the story, just get into it and put this lore everywhere.
Yeah. Well,
and it also made the internet come to life and like helped give this game life as a cult classic because it gets people talking on message boards, which is organic.
Yeah. Well, one area that I'm not sure like exactly how they planned out the lore and stuff like that, but that makes enough sense to me. But one thing I do really like is there was clearly a lot of thought put into like placement of elements in the world. Like Green Path is an area in there that is clearly was a path that was developed for the bugs of the Forgotten Crossroads to be able to transport between like there and Deep Nest, as well as like if you go to the City of Tears, you're underground. How is it raining there? But then if you look at the map, right above the City of Tears is the Blue Lake, and so it's leaking water down through the cracks and is manifesting as rain over the City of Tears. So there's lots of little things like that are like, you didn't have to make this make sense. You could have just had a city raining underground because you thought it looked cool, but nope, they put a big lake above it that you can go visit that serves almost no gameplay function besides to just give place to the world that you're in and make it feel like a place where these bugs actually could live and exist and have a history. So very cool stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. We're just shy of the hour and a half mark. You guys want to call it? You think that's good? The longest Eric's Indie episode ever? Yeah.
This is the first hard game I ever finished, which says something. I was used to just like brute forcing my way mechanically through games just to like get through the narrative because I was in it for the narrative. And this is the first game where it's like I actually still want to finish, but I am pissed off all the time. And there are very few games that were hard and I finished, and it's like this and Returnal, and I can't even name any others off the top of my head. Hard games that are worth finishing.
Yeah. Emerlie, closing thoughts?
Oh, this is such a beautiful game. I definitely became overly obsessed. My ADHD really kicked in and my hyperfocus, and I kept binging the lore over and over and over again, and there's some fantastic lore videos out there. So for anyone listening, if you have played the game, definitely play it first before you watch the lore, because there's a lot of things that can get spoiled, and it's just so much more enjoyable playing it first and then get into the lore of it. It is so fascinating and over the top, and there's videos that are way too long, longer than our video, that can really break it down for you. And then there's like short little snippets that can sum it up in a couple minutes. And watch all of them, get obsessed. There's different media out there. So I love this game. It holds a special place in my heart. And again, ADHD, I have rambled about this game to too many people. My poor mother. I'm like in my 30s living with my parents. And when I was aggressively playing this game at the time, I would go upstairs. I'm like, oh, I love this bug game. And I would kind of like pace a little bit. And I'm like, you don't understand. And like, it's these bugs and it's so satisfying. And like, my poor mother would just hear me ramble for 30 minutes about bugs. And she doesn't understand it. Bugs. A virus. So anyways, like it triggered my hyperfocus and obsession. And also it gave me the Tetris effect. If you don't know what that is, it's basically where if I play it for too long, then when I try to fall asleep, I still see the game. And I feel like I can still physically feel it as well, because there's good like haptic feedback in the controller. And so like as I'm trying to fall asleep, I'm still platforming around, and I feel like I can still feel my character jumping around and doing things. And so this is a good game. It is a fantastic game, and Silksong is going to be chef's kiss.
Yeah, I will vouch for this like neurotic thing that Emerlie does, where she like, if she's interested in something and the counterparty is not interested at all, she'll talk to you as if you are an equal fan and equally vested, and it can go for 30 to 60 minutes. I'm like, Emerlie, that person tuned out the minute you started talking because they're not invested in this, and she just keeps going. I'm like, even I'm tuned out and I'm interested. Like, I don't know how you do this, and it's usually with my mom. And so she's a good sounding board, but Emerlie's really talking to herself. She's not talking to her. She just wants to talk.
It's also hard because, like, again, ADHD, it's just like, and it's the dead air. If I am not getting anything back, I'll just keep spitting out. And then I just get really excited about things, and I don't have anyone to talk to about a lot of these things. I'm kind of, I work from home. I live in my own bubble. I barely leave the house to maybe get a swig every day. So, like I just have to info dump on people. But at least I'm not talking about parking lots, I'm not obsessed over the fact that parking
We've come
lots
full
exist.
circle. Yeah.
You're the most tolerable sibling out of
Thank
5.
you.
And that includes, second most, because there is me. But, so I have to say, I wanted to bring this up. Where is your grinding spot in this game for Geo? Everybody probably has one.
Yeah,
the Coliseum of Fools. If like you just do the first round isn't too hard, and that one I think you get like 1,000 Geo.
Okay.
No, it takes too long to get to the Coliseum of Fools, and by then you're getting a lot more Geo. It's early on in the game, and I can't remember what the character is called, but it's when you first drop down into Hollow Nest, and you take a right, and then in the top right corner there is a big fat bug. It's just a big fat bug, and then you can fight him, and he drops a bunch of Geo. And then if you drop down and go down the map a little bit to the Forgotten Crossroads, and then you go to the left, do you know what I'm talking about? There's another fat bug. There's 2 of the same bug, kind of close to each other, and that's where
and the Forgotten Crossroads with the big hammers. Yeah.
Yes, and so that's where I go and I grind, because especially the one on the bottom left, you can kill him, and then I would go right back to the bench, and I would, restore my health and also make him respawn, and then I would just go up. And so it was very quick to just bounce back and forth. I probably did that like 50 times to afford the lantern.
I don't really remember my first playthrough a ton, and I don't remember really needing to grind very much this second playthrough.
Eric never dies.
Well, no, I died plenty, but I would just go back and get my shade, or I'd use a rancid egg and have it brought back.
Eric's never lost his shade. Okay, so this is the infuriating thing. Is it called Kingdom's Edge? That's right off the map. So up there,
maybe
you got
there's an area called Kingdom's Edge. Yeah.
Yeah. So up there, if you go north, up a bit, those like jumping mosquito bugs that come in threes.
Oh yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah, but
They're
they're
a really
really
good way
like
to refill your soul. Yeah.
exactly, and like they all come at you, and if you're just quick enough about your nail, then you can just stand in one spot and get them, and then you get those 3, then you jump up and there's another 3, and you get those, and out of those 6 you get almost 100 geo. And so I did that 100 times to get 10,000 geo 2 days ago, and then I shit you not, I got lost because I wasn't using the compass. I went off trail and I got killed, and I was infuriated. So I went back to go get my shade, and I died before I got there.
No.
I lost an hour of grinding geo, and I wanted to not play the game anymore until Silksong came out, and then I ended up playing it the next day and grinding for another hour. Like, I was infuriated, but I couldn't stop it. That one, I gave myself 30 seconds of yelling. Like, that was the biggest I've ever yelled at this game. I was so mad.
You know, you can sell some stuff too, like some. I think they're totally.
Yeah, but I wanted to go on a spending spree all around this the nest to get every single badge. I wanted to get everything all at once and just like be powerful, so I could beat Hornet. Like, this was pre-Hornet.
Shan was getting ready.
I was angry and I was juiced, and that just like, great, there goes another hour of my life. I just wasted it. I went to a dark place. And I never wanted to use the banker. Not only did I not know where she was at the time, but that twist where the banker steals your money and runs off.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
So good. Also, you can find her again later, and you can punch all of your money out of her.
Yes.
Yeah, which
I
is
loved it.
extremely satisfying.
So they don't subvert a safe space, but they subvert the bank, which a game has never done to me, and I loved that. All right, well, that's it for me.
Yeah, well, closing thoughts on this game, when citing one of the reasons why I love indie games, is like, I had played a few indie games here and there, but I played Shovel Knight and I played this game, and those games kind of opened my mind to be like, oh, this is like small independent studios or passionate people making passionate, like, things that they're passionate about. This is where it's at. This is where you find amazing games, and you find amazing AAA games as well. I'm not trying to say that they're not. Like, there's some really good ones too, but like, I love indie games, and one of the big reasons is because of this game. It kind of made me realize, like, oh, this is where I want to be focusing a lot of my gaming attention, because this is where it's at. So I love Hollow Knight. I think it's fantastic. You guys should all play it.
Yeah, speaking to that, remember in How I Met Your Mother when there's a gap and they all individually at some point in the episodes think, I can jump that?
Yes.
You remember this? Okay. So that's what I think Hollow Knight is to anybody with aspirations to create a game. They are passionate about games, and then they play this indie game, and then you also maybe learn that it's 2 people that weren't really developers and they somehow figured it out, and it's one of the greatest games ever. Like, everybody plays Hollow Knight and thinks, yeah, I could build an indie game. I could code that. It's probably not true. I don't know how they had such talent right out of the gate, but we all played, all 3 of us, I remember at some point, played this game and said, I want to create an indie game because of this game.
So yeah, this game is a really special one. Absolutely, give it a try. Gets a hearty recommend from all 3 of us. All right, and I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Eric's Indie Corner. We all had a super awesome time talking about one of our favorite games. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and you can find us wherever you find podcasts. Eric's Indie Corners are every Monday. Our regular series you can listen to every Thursday. So check us out. We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Bye.
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 Outro. Bleep-a-doof, bleep-a-deep, bloop-a-dee-blow.